Welcome to How Adoption Works. I'm Joseph Sandagato, Director of Communications and Public Relations for MARE. How Adoption Works are shorter episodes including frequently asked questions and topic that we don't cover on the main AdoptED podcast. This is supposed to be quick, so without further ado, I'd like to start the show. I'm welcoming back Jeremy, Digital Communications Specialist for MARE. Welcome, Jeremy. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, excited to be here.
We didn't scare you away, although that would be hard to do since you're the producer and you're in the room for every single one of these podcasts.
Oh yeah,
right?
I see everything. I know everything when it comes to the podcast.
And who knew? You have a voice. What was the old adage? You have a face made for radio. But that's just mean. That's not true. You do have a good voice for radio, Jeremy, and I'm glad that you're back with me. Our topic today is child profiles and searches. So you're the tech guy. You're on the digital side of the house, and if I'm going to do this with anybody who would understand it, it would be you. And we're really talking about the website here, right? So that's the interface that users engage with to run a search of our waiting children. We can cover the next steps in process inquiries in a later episode. So really what we're talking about is searching. Sound good?
Yeah. And it's one of our most important tools for families, I think, with our core services.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So the just a quick, brief history and evolution of the child profiles. The child profiles have been around since the beginning. And as you can imagine, MARE goes back to 1957. So guess what most of them were? Paper. Yeah. And it lived that way until, when did we transition, Jeremy, to full? 17, when we brought up the new website.
I think like all the way,
March
17,
of 17, probably?
17, yep.
So from 57 to 17 was...
Did we really start
paper.
The child profile booklets all the way back in
They were referral sheets. They weren't necessarily they weren't what you worked on.
Right.
Just for listener knowledge, Jeremy in his role used to produce was the final producer of the profiles that you would see in the books. Now the books, people are familiar with the old blue MARE books that used to be out in the libraries and in other public spaces had sheets in them that were child profiles.
Which, if you're new to the process, you wouldn't be familiar with now.
Be,
I mean,
right? Because we're super high tech. But that is the history of this. And before that, I believe I saw there might have even been like carbon copy sheets. I mean, if we really think back about the history of this, somebody probably filled out something in triplicate on a piece of carbon paper, and I could be making this up, so don't hold me to it. But I believe I saw like carbon copy papers of forms. But either way, it was a way to tell the world about the children who we were representing.
Yeah,
right.
With the resources that we had and the mediums we had at the time.
Right. So I just want to talk a little bit about how children come into MARE and what the profile process entails. The children who are children who MARE would work with, we say are the traditionally harder to adopt children. But this is how I tell the story, so it makes sense to people. DCF really is in the business of foster care, if you will, right? Their goal is to reunify children, strengthen families, reunify children, return them home.
Right. When
that can't happen, because the families may not have the ability to get to that place, then the department, in conjunction with the courts, decides that the child is going to move to the adoption track. So if we take current numbers, here we are in 2019, late 2019, it's about 3,400 kids on the adoption track. Of those 3,400 kids who are currently either in an unrestricted foster home or a kinship home, right? Both foster care, but kinship being that you stay with family, unrestricted being that you are not related, but you're providing foster care. There are 3,400 kids. Now, of those 3,400 kids, 1,200 don't have a potential adopter. So they're not staying where they are now. Those are the kids who we have the potential to represent. Right now, it's probably around 600 and change kids that we are currently working on behalf of actively. There's another group of kids that are kind of on hold for various reasons, but that's who we're talking about here.
Those are basically the kids that they do not already have through their natural networks a resource to adopt them. Right. Who's identified. So there's 1,200 kids who potentially there's no identified resource who can adopt them. Right. And so those from that number, those are the kids who are referred to MARE to say, okay, we need to connect these children to the public, to a family from the public who's willing to adopt.
And since we have social workers and families who listen to our podcast, I just want to explain a little bit about the process. For a social worker, they simply just need to reach out to the Child Service Coordinator or CSC here at MARE who represents their region and start that process.
Yep.
Make a
They just
referral.
Send over a referral.
Yep. And that's how it starts. And then from there, we build a record. And then, Jeremy, you and I did a How the Heart Gallery Works episode in the past. That is another layer of engagement. There's videography work. There's all kinds of, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. Here we're talking about child profiles.
Yeah. So if you go to the website, you go to Meet the Children, Waiting Child Profiles, that whole page, that is what we're talking about. That
yes.
Kids.
And we assume you know who we are, but the website is mareinc.org. And then you click on the tab who says, who are the children? And then you click on the Meet the Children. And that's how you get to the profile. So that which used to be in the book, can I call it the book?
Yes.
Used to be in the book, is now all online. Yep. Now, I will say that we should probably talk about, do you want to talk about the access levels associated with the website and what folks can see depending upon their account type and where they are in stage of process?
Yeah. So this takes a little bit of familiarity on the listener's part with sort of the DCF system and ideas of legal risk and what it means to be legally freed. But at its most basic, when a child is legal risk, that means their parental rights have not been fully terminated, and so we are limited on how much they can be displayed to the public. Right. So we don't have a full permission to display them to the public, whereas legally freed children are in the custody of DCF. And we can present them to the public for recruitment.
Right.
So as you go to the waiting child profiles, what the website naturally does is it will only show children who are legally freed or given permission for public presentation.
Right.
So when you scroll on that sheet, you won't see the 650 kids or however many that
so
we
I've
actually
never
have referred to us.
I've never been to MARE before. I go to mareinc.org. I click and I go to Waiting Children. I'm seeing the legally freed children.
That's right.
Which incidentally is exactly what you used to see on the old website. I mean, we're omitting a lot of facts here for the sake of time, but we just redid the website, and in the old website, you also got to see that. The difference is today, depending upon your user account type, you can also see the legal risk kids if you have your home study completed, you've sent it to us, and we verified it.
Yes, which involves you can now create an account on the MARE website. And so we might do a little bit of detail on the account creation process later, but it's very simple. You follow the instructions on the screen to create an account. And then as you move through the process, once you are a home studied family, you can register that home study with us, have it verified, and then we know you're far enough in the process that we can give you more information into a larger pool of waiting kids
and then you
who
see
are
all
legal
the
risk.
kids.
Yes. So if you're logged in, you can see all the kids who have been referred to us and have profiles up on the website.
All right. So before we get to a search, I just want to make sure that we talk to people about the different kinds of users. So we have we're just speaking about families and prospective families. So we really want to talk about social worker, site visitor, and then family. And within family, those who are non-home studied and those who are. Okay. Well, how about just walking through a quick search, because this is all supposed to be quick stuff. Why don't we tell people, I think it's important to tell them about the search process. So they're at Who Are the Children, and they're at Waiting Children. What's next?
So if you're on Waiting Child Profiles, it'll pull up the screen and you'll already see some pictures there. And there's a teal button. There's a couple different ways to search. If you've already seen a child profile somewhere out in the media or something like that has a registration number, you can search by registration number.
Pop that right in.
Right in, and it'll take you directly to that child profile. But if you're a family who's registered with us and you're looking for you're looking for siblings, and you are looking for siblings who are somewhere between the ages of 4 and 10, something along those lines. Then that's a little bit more complicated of a search. And what you can do is go to Modify Search. And so if you click up above there that says Modify Search, it'll bring up a whole range of options that has to do with you can select gender,
further
levels,
qualify that,
further qualify all sorts of things related to the children you feel would be the best fit for your family. And so that gives you a lot of really precise control over then what will show up, so that you're sure you're only looking at child profiles where your family would actually be a good match. Right. Yeah.
Great. Well, I think that's all important, and I hope that our listeners will take a peek at the website. Certainly, if they have any questions, they can give us a call here at 617-964-6273. or visit us on the website where you're looking and kind of root around in there. There's a lot of information on the website.
Absolutely.
But that's basically what all you need to know about child profiles and searches. It's not very complex. It's pretty easy to do. There is, when you're setting up, the one caveat is, as a family, when you're setting up your record, you do get to qualify sort of the range that you're looking at. But then when you're on the front end, you can create a custom search. Right. So the back end of this in your record is kind of to tell the social worker world what your preferences are. When you're searching on the front end, there is the capability and ability to do that in the search. So those are two separate things.
Right.
But Jeremy, thanks for co-hosting with me today. I'm always glad when we get to work together, and you know how much I appreciate you. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. I hope people learned a lot.
Thank you as well to all of our listeners. For more information about anything we've covered on today's show, please visit us at our website, mareinc.org. We appreciate your investment in our show. And just a reminder that if you like us, one of the best things you can do to help us keep going with this work is to listen and rate us on your platform of choice. Oh, and share it with others who would benefit from this content. And if you have a show topic for either the main podcast or for these shorter episodes, please email me at joe.s like Sam at mareinc.org. I'd love to hear from you. This is Joe Santagato from MARE, wishing you a wonderful day, and thanks for listening.